Well, let's talk to Ahmad Shuja, a director of the Foundation for Afghanistan, a Washington and Kabul-based non-profit group dedicated to the country's reconstruction. He also writes the Afghanistan Analysis blog. It hasn't been confirmed, the veracity of this video hasn't been confirmed yet, but if it is true, what will the impact be, do you think?
I think the impact of this on the talks with the Taliban and with the Afghan government is not going to be extensive, as the Taliban have tried to so far downplay this. But what it does is it is the latest in a string of unfortunate incidents involving U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan, and so that's unfortunate. It's going to have a lot of PR damage consequences for the U.S. involvement in Afghanistan. But what's important to understand is that it's going to be taken more negatively in some parts of Afghanistan than in others, but overall it is a huge PR disaster for the U.S.
So we're looking then at a backlash against American troops perhaps on the ground, rather than any lasting impact or damage to these peace talks, which are about to start, we think, soon.
That's accurate to a great degree, but to expect that because of these images that have been broadcast, presumably in the Afghan media, by now, to have large-scale demonstrations by Afghans and others on the ground in Afghanistan involving burning of American flags, I think is a little too far-fetched. But what it does is it does create more negativity among the Afghans about the U.S. presence on the ground.
Obama's special envoy to the region, Mark Grossman, is due to have talks with Karzai next week, we understand. Are we looking at quite potentially the best hope for peace now in Afghanistan after 10 years of war?
I think now you have the strongest push from all parties involved, especially the U.S., the Taliban themselves, and the Afghan government as well, because the withdrawal deadline is coming close. But the push is stronger than ever towards a negotiated settlement for the Afghan peace, for peace in the Afghan conflict. But to add one other point about the video involving the alleged urination of U.S. Marine Corps troops in Afghanistan, I think there is sort of a cognitive dissonance in Washington about what the U.S. wants its troops to do or thinks of its troops and what these individuals have allegedly done. And I think, and many in the West have also are similarly shocked, but what's important to understand is that the shock in Afghanistan is not per se about the act, but it involves an action, urination, and desecration of corpses that are culturally more significant to Afghans than the act per se itself as is understood in the West.
Okay, Ahmad Shuja, thank you very much indeed.